A big bag of onions was bought, but turns out we noticed it had a stench as we moved around to prepare the food bags for the families. After finishing the bags and rearranging the place, cleaning it and making space, Sister and I set ourselves to sort them out. As we began, I noticed some heart shapes on them here and there, soon with a train of Holy Spirit thoughts, as He told us a lesson through onions. On my left side were the good onions which we picked. On the right side was a cartoon box where the rotten, spoiled onions were thrown. In the middle was the whole gamut of onions. Look at this. The onions of this side is like heaven, all good. The box is hell. The middle is earth. That's a messy earth, I said, and Sister laughed, agreeing completely. Many onions, both good and bad, with the remaining onion skins piling up on top of others. Eventually telling her, "Man, Jesus is not afraid to get his hands dirty," I exclaimed, chuckling. Our hands were now dirty because of them and their stinking, spoiled sides and dirt from picking them up. We spotted some little bugs, and to Sister's question of what were those exactly, I replied, "Those are onion eater bugs. They feed off the onions. Those are like the devils," she says right away, making me agree completely. The devils are small, but little by little they end up destroying the onion. They feed off the onion, but in the end spoil it to the core, though so small they might be. That is why confession is much needed, Brother added after telling him the story. Yeah, both Sister and I agreed completely. For as I saw the bug on me or on the onion, I would blow it away with a blast. So it is with confession. The breath of the Holy Spirit blows those bugs away from the soul. You must have realized the onion represents the soul. The hands at work get dirty when picking them up and choosing which side to put them on. At some, the peeling had to go only one layer and they were good to go. For others, the peeling had to go deeper, as its surface was spoiled and rotten. You know, now I think of how the Lord does with us. This peeling is the Lord removing the bad stuff on us, I said. The onion skin represents the flesh, its vices and sins and shortcomings. The Lord is removing them from the soul until they are good to go to the side. We realized that some onions were easy to remove the skin, while for others you had to be picky and slowly remove it. I began to say. It's like the flesh for some souls is not so attached to them, to their soul. Therefore the Lord easily removed the vices, bad habits off of them. It is fast with them. But for other onions, the skin is so attached to them that you take longer to remove it, as it takes a while to peel it off one piece at a time. That is why some souls are faster to work with, and others take a while. They are detached from it, those souls. For the other onions that take time, you have to be careful too, for sometimes the peeling can hurt your skin under the nails, making you bleed. So sharp is their skin layer when removing it. Sister later then found an onion. This one definitely goes to the box. Ugh, she said, looking at it. Oh, let me see, I said. Yeah, you see to it. She gives it to me gently. I take the onion, and as I had the practice of going deep while peeling some of them previously, I dug myself to see until where it was spoiled. Removing the skin, reaching the very ugly, stinky layer, I removed it, and underneath was a surprisingly perfectly good and intact layer. Whoa, did you just do that? She laughed amazed. This is Mother Mary miracle. We began to laugh hard. We recalled that some souls are defined as going straight to hell, being so spoiled, apparently. But then the soul is given to the care of Mother Mary's hands. And so it is that this rotten onion is actually healthy underneath and now goes to heaven. It just needed some intercession hands to peel it and work the stenchy layers off of it, taking the time and patience with it. Recalling also the episode of the unfruitful tree and how a person asked to let it be under his care for a year and fertilize it and see how it bears fruit. With this onion we learned that we had to see if the spoiling was to the core of the onion. If it was not to the core, then the onion was safe enough to go to the good side. If it turned out to be rotten to the core, it would go to the trash box. So with souls. If their core is not rotten and spoiled, they have a good chance of ending on the good side. So God digs deep into a man's heart to see if they are rotten to the core or not, and then sees to their destination. You can see by now that the skin of the onion is the flesh, vices, and sinfulness, and the white layer of the onion are the soul and spirit, which we defined as the core. The core is the heart of the soul. Sister then makes a reference, saying, chuckling, "And we are the angels." "The angels?" I questioned. To which she replied, "Remember how it is said that he will send the angels to pick up the wheat, or so, also to separate the goats from the sheep. The tares went for burning, and the wheat to the good side." "Oh, yeah," I exclaimed, remembering. Eventually the onions on the good side marveled Sister and me. "They look so good when they are clean." "As if shining," I added. "Yeah," she agreed. The souls in heaven look so healthy and shiny, so good to look at them, whereas the box is repulsive to look at or smell. The work on earth is dirty and selective, but how pleasant to look at the good, clean onions. Worth the toil, we pondered. Finishing sorting them out, I say while going to pick up the broom, "And what does God do when the choosing is finished? He cleanses the earth," I announced funnily. Now there were only two sides, the good side with the onions and the box with the rotten ones. There was nothing left in the middle, which we had defined as being the earth. I took the broom and swept the floor, and Sister washed it with a mop. And so God, after the souls have been sorted out, the good from the bad, He will cleanse the earth. The tribulation cleansing, I added while sweeping. The purification of the earth will happen as tribulation occurs, where God cleanses it by fire. Then, after cleaning it up, He will use it anew, which in this case is the earth in the millennium age of Jesus' reign on earth, all clean and washed. The story of mankind in a big bag of onions in the garage. A Holy Spirit lesson of life, on life, through onions. And to mention as an aside, some onions were put in another place near us while we were selecting them, where we reasoned they were good, but had to be checked a second time for details. This reminds me of purgatory. Some have to go through a process of double checks before they are cited with the whole gamut of the good onions. They were at some point among the last to join the group. but are now part of the group and its wholeness.